Well, hello YouTubers. This video is going to be all about the garden and all the maintenance I'm doing to keep things going. Now, this then, if I step back, is the what's it called again? The table bed, which we planted up on Bank Holiday Monday, which is the last day of May. And what are we now? Something like the 19th of July, something like that. Now, it was doing really well, and it isn't doing badly now, but this prolonged drought we're having, which I'm not complaining about, I'm really enjoying. You can see the watering can there, and there's a water butt there which is full of water. I just take it from there, or I use the hose pipe. And what I'm doing is I'm watering this twice a day, but because it's so shallow, the water just drops straight out of the bottom. And it can dry up again within an hour. It can be dry. So what that's meant is that although things are growing, they're quite stunted, which isn't great to eat actually. Those are quite coarse and tough, those lettuce leaves now. And let's see, what else have we got here? Well, the carrots haven't moved at all, really. Not at all. Okay, so I've made a decision because I've just listened to the long range weather forecast. And we've got more of this coming, which is fantastic. I don't mind, but I do mind for this bed here. So I've got a plan, and we'll nip over to the polytunnel and I'll talk about it with you. I've spent half an hour in here this morning sorting out these tomatoes because I've been watering really diligently in here the whole time. It's been very dry, so it's actually all right in here, so that nothing really much has suffered. And I don't think you can see terribly well, but the tomatoes are doing brilliantly, but they were very unruly. So I've spent this morning in here with the secateurs just taking off some of the bottom leaves and side shooting a bit so that the whole thing is a little bit more manageable, and I can actually see tomato fruits and so on. So let's say hello to that little sunflower that's peeping through. Hello, little sunflower, you're very welcome. Let's give you a zoom in. Ah, that's nice, isn't it? Next to the sunflower are all these gherkins here, gherkins and cucumbers, and they are very thirsty indeed. So one of the things I've been doing, let's go and sit down here. So one of the things I've been doing is tying these things up better so that they're not flopping around all over the paths, because you can barely see the paths now. So the plan then for the little shriveled up lettuces in the square table bed, I'm actually going to lift the lettuces and put them in here. There's a little row of sunflowers that I planted there. They're just dwarf sunflowers. They're not going to go crazy and hit the roof or anything. They're just going to provide beautiful flowers. But in front of it, there's lots of lovely space all the way along there. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to transplant the lettuce that's not doing terribly well into this space here, because the lettuce in here is doing terrifically well. So, and it's also a bit softer, so it's nicer to eat. Okay then, so that's what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to do the thing I dislike. I'm going to put it on speeded up, just so that we can get through this garden video a bit more quickly. So this is what the raised bed looks like now without those lettuce. There's one at the end now that I missed. There are some lettuce in the middle here that are almost like tiny baby seedlings. I'll transplant them when there's room elsewhere. But look at the lamb's lettuce, which has gone to seed, which is what a plant does just before it dies. You know, it's just thought, this isn't a good place to be. We're going to set seed, reproduce ourselves, and then die. That's pretty much what plants do. There's the tiny carrots in there that are doing nothing. I won't transplant them. And there's some beetroot, because it might be that I saw the long range weather forecast, and it did say that we're in for quite a lot more of this, and so the chances of this bed doing well have reduced a bit. So I'm going to show you some other areas of the garden now. Everything in pots is struggling, but everything in the raised beds is doing just fine. This then, let's back up a bit, is the bed with the cauliflower, sprouts, cabbage, leaf beets, chard, all of those things. This is the bed with the brassicas in, which the little white butterflies love to lay their eggs in, and then the caterpillars emerge and eat all my veg. So that's why this enviromesh is over the top of it. My daughter suggested I get that, and it's been a good idea. In this bed, what's doing really well now, that it's just a little bit cooler, and I've been watering a lot, but the broad beans, the French beans are coming now. Some of the French beans have reached the top of the poles now. The peas and the sugar snap peas doing very, very well indeed. The potato bed here, if you remember, I planted some potatoes in pots. Well, they've done appallingly badly because of the drought that we've had. So as I've been lifting potatoes from these raised beds, I've been lifting the pots in and sort of half burying them into the spaces that I've made, which means that they're getting a lot more moisture. That might work. I don't know, it might work. The farmer gave me these big tubs here, which have had some sort of, I don't know, sheep licking or something, and I've drilled holes in the bottom of them all, and now I'm just filling them up with all sorts of layers of fertility, because I'm actually going to plant some other crops in here. One of them's definitely just going to be full of radishes. Why not? So I'm going to take you round now past the pavilion, which is, I have my breakfast out here every day. I've hardly been indoors this summer, apart from to watch the tennis. Now here, where the sweet peas are doing beautifully, here is my strawberry bed. Now I was doing really well, cropping a lot of strawberries, and then suddenly there seemed to be none. And I could see strawberries coming, but then the ripe ones would go. Then I discovered that 3 of my hens were escaping from somewhere, I don't know where, and making a beeline to here and eating all the ripe strawberries. Well, I caught those 3 hens and I've put them in solitary confinement today until I can find where they're getting out, and then I can take this netting off the strawberries, and hopefully there are a few left, get a few last strawberries. The more I pick the sweet peas, the more there are, which is of course wonderful. Now this is where I've been watering and watering and watering. The radish are finished, the beetroot are coming, I need to thin those a bit. The carrots, we had our first picking of carrots the other day. I gave them to my son because he really likes my carrots, so I should start picking carrots by thinning them soon. There's some good lettuce there again that's in the ground. This stuff is rocket. This stuff in the middle, it's a bit tough. Again, the lamb's lettuce going to seed, and then I need to weed those leeks, don't I? But look at this success here. Goodness sake. Courgettes. Oh, it's unbelievable the way the courgettes have just generously given so many fruits. It's fantastic. And I think when I planted these, I did plant a little microenvironment around each root with all sorts of really good fertility. It certainly pays off. This bed here, I remember planting around about Good Friday, and this was a variety of potato called International Kidney, and I'm picking those now and eating them, and they're absolutely delicious. So the beds then are doing great. Less good is the stuff that's in pots up here. So, and again, weedy lots and lots of weeding to do, but I'm not getting stressed about it. I do what I can. So up here then, which is laughingly the herb bed, is a proper mess. I've got a list in the pavilion, and on it is weed the herb bed. So that's going to be a task to do soon. Those chives, I'm going to cut those chives right back down to the ground so that they can regenerate again. We'll just go over here. So this here is my setup for drying my onions, and as the onions are ready to harvest, I'm just laying them out here. But I want to show you this particularly. This is garlic. I've never grown garlic before, and this is garlic, and I've got 2 here, and there are a great deal more in the ground to dig up. So that's another thing that's on the list for today, is to harvest the garlic. These red and white onions here, I'm just drying them out, and then we'll have a lovely time stringing those up. We'll do that. That'll be fun. So I'm going to make a cup of tea, edit this and post it, but I might just cut those chives down first. Something like that anyway. It's Thursday. It's a sort of nothing day Thursday. So it's a properly good day to spend smelling sweet peas and gardening. Catch up with you soon. Thanks for watching, guys.